With the Citi Double Cash Card, you get 1% cash back when you buy and 1% as you pay. That's like the joy of discovering the last donut.
Ooh.
And it has your name on it, literally, in chocolate sprinkly things.
No way.
Double the love with the Citi Double Cash Card. Apply now at Citi.com/doublecash.
This is the Dan Levator Show with the Stugotz podcast.
How often do you guys find yourself confused by what's going on with Victor Oladipo, with the idea that Paul George leaves Indiana and Oladipo is now better in just about every statistical way than Paul George was while he was there? Like, what do you do with that information? What do you do with Isaiah Thomas all of a sudden become a 30-point scorer when he's the one with the ball in his hands all the time? Like, that the Thunder are worse now than the Knicks, and they're worse now than the Pacers. That Carmelo Anthony being on this team makes it worse than the team that he left, and Paul George being on this team makes it worse than the team he left. What do you do with all of that?
I really don't know. I have thought about it, like what is going on with Victor Oladipo. Not often, but I have thought about it. And, you know, the best guess I can come up with on Oladipo is he's the best player on an average team, right?
But so was Paul George, and it made him a superstar.
Right. Now you're starting to see that with Oladipo, and Oladipo playing with Russell Westbrook was not this. And now Paul George playing with Russell Westbrook is not this. So I'm starting to wonder, is the guy who plays with Russell Westbrook.
Well, and Westbrook he's had 11 or 12 straight games where he shot under 50%.
Yeah.
Because the best way for Westbrook to play is the way that he played last year for Westbrook personally.
Correct.
But that's not best for their team.
You can form an argument as to why Oladipo has better counting numbers than Paul George. You mentioned the Russell Westbrook and the quality of the teams, but that shouldn't play into efficiency. Oladipo's been a much better player than Paul George this season, and take out the fact that Sabonis has been pretty damn good too.
Well, I'm wondering though, what I'm wondering about is superstardom. I've always thought of this as merit-based superstardom. You're not allowed to be a superstar unless you've earned it. Like, we don't let you be a superstar in sports just because you're famous. You got to be excellent too. And if you look at what's happening right now in Indiana, what you see is that Victor Oladipo has been better than Paul George ever was. And so what I'm wondering is, if I get you an average team and I just give one guy the usage rate, am I making a Paul George out of 70 guys in the NBA? Am I making a Paul George? If I could do it with Victor Oladipo, how many other guys might I be able to do that with? It's not going to win me anything. It's just going to increase Oladipo's value and the respect that Oladipo gets, but I'm not going to win anything with Oladipo as my best player, but he's been Paul George, and Paul George got all the commercials.
Yeah, it's a curious theory. It's a little more complicated considering Oladipo was a highly touted prospect, and he's shown growth and development, and he's sort of forecasted to be this, judging by where he was drafted, right? But man, what a season. 24.5 points a game on 49% shooting. It's way better than Paul George.
And he was useless in Oklahoma City, and so was Sabonis. Sabonis was useless in Oklahoma City.
Sabonis is giving you 12 on 54% shooting.
I love that guy in college. He just seems like a tweener. And, I can't believe I started with Pacers basketball. Okay, let's get to Lavar Ball shoes. They have arrived. The Big Baller brand shoes. We bought 2 pair of shoes here. What was it, Mike? How long ago was this? Was it 8 months ago? This is the worst business in America right here. Big Baller.
We bought these Cinco de Mayo, I believe.
This is the worst business in America. In 2017, where a drone can drop something off at your house, we bought sneakers on the internet, and we bought it during the Mexican holiday of Cinco de Mayo.
For those who weren't here on Cinco de Mayo, Dan was praising this as a great business strategy.
Right.
Yeah.
Only making the ones people buy.
Yes, just in time for the holidays. Order in May.
A different product than you ordered also.
Well, this is the other thing. Stugotz, open your door there behind you.
Okay.
Mike is coming in with the shoes. Can I get a picture of the shoes we ordered? Because they're different shoes.
Of course they're different shoes. He ran out of your shoes.
I mean, I got to call Lavar Ball as customer service on air. Allison, let's try this again. I need to try this again. I want him to explain to me how it is that why did I have to wait 7 and 8 months for these shoes for our listeners?
Is this the new thing here where you're just calling people on the air?
Yes.
Like, is that what you're doing now?
I am devolving into a wacky morning show right before your ears. Last segment, we called that Bruce Sherman, the new owner of the Marlins, trying to smoke him out because he keeps using Jeter as a meat shield. And I left a message for Bruce Sherman with his receptionist saying, can you tell Bruce Sherman that I'd like him to to stop using her to talk to him about Derek Jeter being a meat shield. And you know what she said? She said Bruce Sherman refers all calls to Derek Jeter.
And then Dan said, I'm calling every day.
That's right. I'm going to call every day until I get Bruce Sherman on the air, smoke that guy out owning the Marlins when he doesn't have money.
Right. Then I called, and I feel like Bruce Sherman might be on my show in about 15 to 20 minutes. I already got a text back from Chris.
Right.
And we're having dinner tonight.
Right. Stugotz buttered up. If you go listen to the local hour, if you want explanations for what it is that we just did. But now I've got Lavar Ball. Can I see a picture of the sneakers I was supposed to get? The sneakers I thought I was buying. If you're new to the show, Cinco de Mayo, Lavar Ball came out with his shoes. Back then, I was not tired of Lavar Ball. He was an anarchist, and he was a bad messenger, but I loved that he was just throwing fire all over the place, that he's the basketball Kardashians, that's what he's doing. And so in supporting his cause of anarchy, and Guillermo's right with his cutting criticism, that I believe that this was a brilliant marketing strategy, the idea of you do not start making things until people order them. That way, your demand is never higher than your supply. Like your supply is exactly at what your demand is. It's a good way to do it.
You always hear companies struggling because they can't keep up with all the orders that are coming in.
It's a good, right.
Back order.
Right. All right. So, Mike, how would you describe, before I open this box here, on whatever it is Lavar Ball sent us for, what was this, $1,000? Was it $1,000? We bought $1,000 worth of shoes.
Yeah, for two. I think it breaks down about 500.
And so, listeners, we had a contest, and these are for listeners. We are going to send these to the listeners who won it, if we still have their names in the file cabinets from 8 months ago.
Some people have moved. So the original Zode 2s kind of look like some old school Kobe's with the Adidas sort of foam finish on the soles.
All right, Stugotz, so look at those sneakers there that Mike is holding up. And since this is largely not a visual medium, even though some of you are watching us on ESPNU, the majority of you are listening to us on the radio. How would you describe those shoes? Before I open this box, how would you describe the shoes that Mike Ryan, that you're looking at right now? Because Mike can be a sneakerhead, but how would you describe what Mike is holding up right there?
Well, it's black. They're low-top shoes, black. They got Lonzo's number on the side there, number 3. It's got the gold trimming inside. It's got the Big Baller brand emblem on the back of the shoe.
It's a good-looking shoe.
It is a good. It happens to be a good-looking shoe.
It's a good-looking shoe. It obviously copied some more popular shoes, but hey, they were good-looking shoes.
All right, so now I'm going to open it up. They're going to be black, right?
I guess.
Who knows?
I hope.
We getting? All right. Before I open this, before I do this,
you're getting the Prime remix right now because Lavar said so.
Hold on. Let me go around the room here and ask you guys, what do you think is going to happen when I open this box? Chris, what is your best guess for what's going to happen when I open this box?
They're going to look almost exactly the same.
Okay, that would be good. That would be an upset. If the Big Baller brand marketing model that is now making its way through Lithuania produced exactly what I ordered 8 months late.
I think you're getting the flip-flops.
You're getting the slides?
Yeah.
I hope you're getting the Jellos. I like the Jellos.
I'm going to go off the board and say you're getting a hat.
Do you guys believe that these shoes will be black? Yes or no?
I'm not even sure they will be shoes.
Okay. I guess I probably should have. All right, so I'm reaching into this. This
is exciting, man. Okay. 8 months in the making.
Well, there might be some anticlimax here.
It's a shoe box.
Right, it's a shoe box.
Oh, look, there's bubble wrap.
Yeah, very exciting. Worth the $500 already.
Yeah.
All right, so I have the Big Baller brand here. It is gold, and it looks like Big Baller. It also looks like 3 3s.
What the 3? His jersey number is 2, but yes, it does.
It looks like their BBB looks like Big Baller brand looks like 3 3s.
Did I get that wrong?
All right, so here I go.
Fireworks.
I'm reaching into the bag, and there is some sort of velvet packaging.
Wow, is there a bottle of liquor in there?
There's no way it's velvet.
It is not velvet. It feels
polyester,
like fake velvet. And now the shoes are here.
There we go.
Pulling one out.
Oh.
And here is the Big Baller brand.
That's
right
a different shoe. That is a different shoe.
It's a different shoe, yes.
It's a higher top. It's not what I ordered. The shoe I ordered was a low top. That does not look like a low top. That looks like a high top, correct? This is not the shoe that I ordered.
It's like a hybrid.
Yeah.
This is not a high top, not a low top. In between top. but it's a tweener. And the logo is on the front, on the tongue, and not on the back. So that's
I like the shoe. I like the shoe better than the one I ordered.
Really?
Really?
It's not the shoe I ordered.
No.
I paid $500 8 months ago to get not the shoe I wanted.
Yeah. Gone is the sort of Kobe replica body to the shoe. Also, the Adidas foam on the sole is also gone. But this sole finish is pretty decent.
I believe our listeners will like the shoe. The listeners who get this will. What are you doing reaching through?
Can you
one of
make
the
sure
other boxes?
there's a right and left shoe?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's an important thing.
Well, I was making sure maybe there was a different pair of shoes in the other box, but they are.
They're the same.
Yep, they're the same.
Okay, I only got one shoe.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance.
We got 3 shoes.
Huh.
No, I'm making that up. It's a funny joke, but I'm just going for the joke at the end of the segment. I got 5 shoes.
You done going for the joke? Or?
I got 7 shoes. I can go all night, baby. I got 9 shoes. I got 9 shoes and a flip-flop.
You got any more jokes?
11 shoes. Undefeated, never lost. We can play this game forever.
You got one more?
13 shoes.
Don Lebatard.
Stugotz talking about movies is one of the most amazing things you'll ever see. He says he wants to know in a movie's title what a movie's about, and he was just yelping and complaining.
Stugotz.
Well, I mean, Dances with Wolves, which is one of the most overrated movies in the history of movie making. The guy never dances with a wolf. If the title of the movie is going to be Dances with Wolves, then I want to see a guy dancing with wolves. Costner never did it.
Right. You're waiting 3 hours for a guy to dance with a wolf.
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
So we have not checked in with the meanderings of Jose Canseco in a long time. Jose Canseco was, during his time, about as big a sports star as there was. Baseball mattered more then. He was a power hitter. He was swaggering. He was dating Madonna. He was not Michael Jordan, but he was next. Like, there weren't a lot of stars in sports bigger than Jose Canseco. And what happened to him after his stardom involves nothing but craziness. He's on Twitter asking people for chandeliers. He doesn't have money. He you pick up his Twitter account, and for some reason there are goats with diapers in the back seat of his car.
Yeah.
His finger reportedly falls off during a poker match. He was wearing lavender Speedos on one of those reality shows. I don't know, was it The Real World or something like it? And now what has happened? Let's play the imaging right now that we used to have. It's been a long time. Also, he's responsible for the single greatest play in the history of sports, which is when a ground rule double bounced off of his head for a home run. 2 extra bases for the opponent in an extraordinary show of clumsiness. A fly ball hit him on the top of the head and bounced out of the stadium for a home run. Greatest play in sports history.
It's time to highlight the ramblings of a crazy person. It's Jose Canseco's tweet of the day.
Well, tweets of the day, because he was all over the place and in rare form yesterday.
I think he got fired for some of these tweets. He got fired from his job. And I would ask you again, the hell was Canseco doing working in baseball? Like, how did he have a job?
Oh, no.
Like, wait a minute. You know what? This reminds me of when this company fired Rush Limbaugh for being Rush Limbaugh. Like, what's the point of having Jose Canseco as an employee of yours unless you're going to allow him to be Jose Canseco? Now, he did something that was offensive, but the whole point of having Jose Canseco on, it's a fireable offense.
Oh, no,
but the whole point of having him on is because he's going to teeter on that line.
I was reading these thinking, wow, Canseco does not care about whatever job it is that he has right now. Just doesn't care about it. But I think he explains why as the tweets go on, because I think he's got a big project in store for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
All right. So what are the tweets of the day?
He says, what is going on with all these politicians molesting women? I've been molested by several women and never complained. Well, I mean, I've been beaten by women, taken advantage of by women, and molested by women. I never complained. It was kind of a turn-on.
That'll get you fired every time.
Yep. I see the difference, I guess, because I was a good-looking guy, and these politicians look like a bag of boogers. Hi, Sarah. That's a tweet he threw in there. Yes.
Hi, Sarah.
These women complaining against sexual misconduct are just racist against ugly men.
Misconduct. The way you pronounced that was
okay.
Had a
misconduct.
It's phallic at the end.
Okay. What do you call a pretty woman with an inbred-looking politician? Followed up by, all capitalized, paid. Why is everyone so worried about what I'm saying? I'm just a simple guy trying to pay my bills, worry about who's running our country.
Well, paying the bills just got a little harder.
The media worries too much about what I do. Oh, bleep. I just farted. Wonder if they want to know how it smells.
Yes, actually.
This is when I realized he does not care about whatever job it is that he had yesterday. Our show is coming soon to Las Vegas. It's going to be incredible. It's called Renegades at Caesar's Palace. There's no such thing as being politically correct. It's called being a liar and a hypocrite. Jim McMahon, Terrell Owens, and myself, Jose Canseco, coming soon to Vegas, Caesar's Palace. Our show will be called Renegades. Check it out.
No, the show is We Need Money. What was that? Terrell Owens?
Jim McMahon, Terrell Owens, and myself, Jose Canseco, at Caesar's Palace. Our show will be called Renegades.
I mean, they are all renegades. What kind of show is that?
A show I would watch, I think. Better watch out with Bitcoin time for the big investors to pull out and leave the little guy holding the bag.
Now, Jose Canseco was expected to return to the A's broadcast before all this happened. However, he only had a one-year agreement, so the regional network over there said he's no longer an employee here. We disagree with those, and the A's put out a statement. However, after the news that he wasn't being brought back broke, Jose Canseco reached out to Susan Slusser of the San Francisco Chronicle and in a text message said, if people can't take a joke, that's ridiculous. What I'm saying really has no meaning. Those tweets don't even make any sense. They're a bunch of riddles.
Every casino is structured.
Enough.
Well, no, this was a great riddle here.
All right, let's hear this riddle.
Bitcoin is mathematically structured so a lot of people lose money and a small group will make a killing. Every casino is structured on the same mathematics that Bitcoin is. Look at the simplest slot machine in Vegas. That is what Bitcoin is structured on. Should have ended on what Mike said.
I don't know why you kept reading. Were you gonna do what I was doing with the numbers last segment, where I was just going to give odd numbers for the rest of the time? Were you just going to read Canseco's whole account?
Yeah.
Or were you looking for the joke that would get us to the funny ending?
I was looking for the joke, but Mike had
because you just did a Bitcoin thing that was totally irrelevant.
I thought his take on Bitcoin was actually pretty interesting and spot on.
Don Le Batard.
Texture writes in, spectacular interview with Lame Kiffin, you flabby jerk. Did you forget to ask him why nobody can stand to be around him for more than a couple of weeks, you chunky baby boy?
He's that guy.
You got me, Texter. You called me a flabby jerk, and then you came over the top and you ran up the score with chunky baby boy.
Stugotz.
What is this voice and face?
No, I'm defeated because I had retorts and I could use the vocabulary to lash back, but instead I'm just defeated.
You look like a chunky baby boy.
Yes.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
What do you do if you're the Thunder, Stugotz? Do you write it out?
You have to write it out, yes, absolutely. You don't?
Oh, I just know those are trades they had to make, and it looks like those pieces aren't ever going to fit. Like Westbrook's a difficult. He's a difficult person to play with because of his ball dominance for guys like Paul George and Carmelo. What Carmelo and Paul George have just shown you is to reiterate how great Kevin Durant was. Because Russ is a hard person to play with.
Well, and that's I guess in that dynamic, Russ was the 2, Durant was the number 1 guy.
But yes.
You come to Russ's team now when you're falling in line behind Russell Westbrook.
George and Carmelo are lost. They could not have possibly thought that this is what they were signing up for. Carmelo left the other day before speaking to reporters after having 11 points.
Right. Well, that's what he does. I mean, the 11 points, walk out of reporters. I told you that thing would he'd get old in a hurry. And he's literally gotten old in a hurry. And I guarantee you the Oklahoma City fan base is tired of him after 26 games because he's annoying. And I can tell you what follows Carmelo Anthony. Nothing. Nothing follows Carmelo Anthony. Wherever he goes, nothing follows except headaches. That's it. That's what he brings to your city and your organization, a big fat headache. I'm tired of him.
It was a trade they had to make, though. And
it is a trade you have to make, and we were all ready to make Presti Executive of the Year by somehow getting those players all to go to Oklahoma City.
And by pulling the trigger on those trades, he got Russell Westbrook to commit to them long-term after he saw how aggressive they were, and they can still move Paul George and Carmelo Anthony.
No, but what I'm asking you guys is, do you start thinking about moving them? Because you got no chance. You're losing at home. You're losing at home to the Hornets.
You're only 3 back of the Timberwolves. It is early, right?
It is early. It is, but what I'm asking you is, what do you do? I'm asking you to be the manager of that team, the guy responsible for the infrastructure. You had to make the deals you made. Everyone would agree with you. You got to get rid of Oladipo,
right?
And they weren't playing well. Sabonis, they weren't playing well with Russell Westbrook. He wasn't incorporating them.
Well, they went for it, and as Mike pointed out, and it's a great point, they pleased and placated Russell Westbrook. It
is a great point.
Yes.
Yeah, if you get him to sign long-term, that's fine. Like, that's enough on those deals with a one-year experiment.
But I've watched them when they're playing right. There have been games, like when they blew out Golden State, when Westbrook and Durant were going at it, and Golden State was healthy that game. Like, they blew them out. They beaten San Antonio. Like, when they play well, it looks right. It's strange that it doesn't look like that every night because it seems like those parts would fit.
I mean, that's not a lot of defensive play you're getting on that. I mean, Carmelo right now, if Carmelo's not a scorer for you, he's a liability. Like, if you're not going to use Carmelo Anthony as someone who gets you points, then he's not going to do anything else for you that's helpful. He's just a guy, right? You might as well have Cephalosha out there or Roberson or one of those other guys who's just going to run around and do all the small stuff that Carmelo's not going to do for you.
I mean, they have 3 guys who like to have the ball in their hand. We saw how hard it was with LeBron and Wade, and those guys were at their peaks. Wade was coming down a little bit, but this is an older Carmelo Anthony, and Paul George is still a young guy, but it's got to be a very difficult dynamic, and we've seen it be tough with 2 guys. 3 guys is a whole new world.
I love what the Rockets are doing. Not just, I don't know, what are they, 21-4 or something? Like, obviously, everyone loves that. But do you see how they're staggering the minutes? Like, they are doing some creative stuff with the math, trying to catch up to Golden State with some of the way they're using the minutes, staggering. One of either Chris Paul or James Harden is always on the court, always. One of them's always going to be out there. That's not something you've seen before. You haven't seen in all of these permutations Kevin Durant and Steph go to the bench at the same time.
Right, but Draymond or Clay are out there.
I know, but yes. But you haven't seen what you're seeing here, where they've only got 2 guys, so they are maximizing the ability of the 2 guys to be the number 1, which is what Carmelo and Paul George need, but it's hard to do that when you've got 3 of them.
I love what Houston is doing. We're in a league right now where most people are resigned to the fact that you can't beat the Warriors at their own game, and Houston's over there saying,
yes, we
watch
can.
me.
Yes, we can.
You think they can? But you actually think they can?
Look, man.
'Cause I don't.
Well, here's the thing. The math over 7 games, the best team gets rewarded in that sport. But, man, they are bleeping with the math because of the number of threes that they're taking. They're taking so many threes that they're inundating the market inefficiency by taking 50. They're taking more than the Warriors do by a lot. And so if they've got a math advantage and one shot's worth more than the rest, they're tilting the game in their favor by taking so many of them with these 2 guys playing so fast and just surrounding them with shooters. It's a really fascinating way to chase the Warriors. No, I don't think so. But on any night that they hit 20 of the 53s, they're probably going to beat you.
It'd be a really cool story for D'Antoni to go to, from innovator to punchline to guy who beats the Warriors because he invented the damn thing.
But this is what I'm saying. Yes, Mike, that's really cool. And what I'm saying specifically about coaches, general managers, we don't treat them the way that we treat players, where a player has a bad year and you're like, they'll be back. Or he's done. A player's done. If he has a bad year, he's old. we don't think that coaches and general managers have bad years, that they might be good coaches. D'Antoni's clearly a good coach.
Yep.
Like, clearly.
That's obvious.
What you have seen from James Harden, it's something McHale couldn't do. What you've seen in retrospect is McHale probably need to follow Morey a little more on some of the analytics that he was throwing in the garbage can every time Morey came in and brought them in.
To your point on threes, the Rockets have attempted 43.2 per game. The Warriors are right around 30 per game.
What I'm saying is they're trying to get to 50.
Right.
They're trying to get to 50, and they're like, okay, you guys want to make twos. We're going to take so many threes that we're just going to change the game's math by percentages.
Right.
Like, that's everything that's happened. What did Embiid have last night? He played 39 minutes last night. Because if we're going to get back to basketball being dominated by bigs, it's going to have to be done by Embiid. Like, what did he do? He got a career high in 39 minutes. His per-minute numbers are crazy. What did he do to Minnesota yesterday, playing a career high in minutes, beating Minnesota in overtime?
Hold on, I got to get to it real quick here.
I was watching a lot of that Pelicans-Rockets game. It's the first time that I sat down and watched the majority of a Rockets game, and my eyebrows steered off. That team is fun.
Yeah, well, both teams played well in that game.
Yeah, that game was crazy.
Embiid, it's ridiculous. He had 28 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, had a block, had a 3, was 8 of 16 from the field, 11 of 12 from the foul line.
Guy's a monster, man. Yeah, basketball's fun. I want to get into how Adam Vinatieri got screwed next.
Don Le Batard.
How much does the watch cost, Ludacris? How much?
I don't know. I got it for free. That's a good question.
Stugotz.
That's an indelicate question, right? You don't ask a woman what she weighs, and you don't ask a hip-hop star what his jewelry's worth, do you?
That's why he let me ask the question.
You really don't.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Mike, does Ben Roethlisberger look like the guy in your neighborhood who sits on his porch admiring his Ford Thunderbird and drinking a natty while wearing his favorite Ted Nugent 1993 shirt?
Yes.
Does he look more like that than he looks like a 5-year-old would draw a person?
Never.
Okay, so he looks the most like a 5-year-old would draw a person, Ben Roethlisberger does. Texter writes in, why is no one dragging Billy Donovan? This goes back to the conversation I was having about coaches taking advantage of opportunities when they present themselves and having good years and bad years. Billy Donovan has had a couple of really great jobs, and he had a Florida Gator team that was clearly the most talented in the country, not unlike Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher had the most talented team in the country by a lot in a way that you can see, and so did Billy Donovan. He parlayed that. He almost parlayed that. Well, he did parlay it into the Magic job and then decided he wanted to leave the Magic and then went to what is – these coaches have to pick good situations, and he picked what looked like a perfect situation, Durant and Westbrook. Those jobs never become available when you got Durant and Westbrook.
No, they don't. And he was one game away from the NBA Finals, up 3-1 against the Warriors in that series.
And now he's headed toward getting fired.
Well, do you think he's going to get fired? Or
I don't know if he's going to get fired this year or next year, but I'm saying Billy Donovan has – yes or no, Billy Donovan has underachieved?
I would say – I mean, Dan, last year I would say that team overachieved. They were better than I thought they were going to be.
Yes or no, Billy Donovan has underachieved. Yes or no? Put it on the poll.
No.
I'm not even going to bother asking. As a pro, I mean as a pro.
I'm saying no. I think he's done a fine job there. I do.
He was a coach when they blew that lead to Golden State.
I know he was, but he also got them to within one game of the NBA Finals, and last year they were a bit better than I thought they would be, and we'll see what happets this year.
You took Kevin Durant's championship after he won it in your personal record book. Now you're giving Billy Donovan credit for getting close to a finals?
Yeah, Coach of the Year. It's my record book. I can do with it what I want. I mean, if you want to start your own personal record book, feel free, and I think you have, with UCF winning a national championship this year in college football. So, I mean, I don't argue with what's in your personal record book.
You have argued consistently with me about how good UCF is.
Well, it's absurd. I mean, really, when you think about it, it is patently absurd that you have UCF as the best team in the country. But again, I can laugh at it. I can mock your book. I might not read your book, but it's your book.
Right, it's my personal record book. Yeah. Okay, thank you for allowing me that.
You got it. Now, let me have mine. Mine, Billy Donovan, was Coach of the Year that year. And him, the Thunder, blowing that 3-1 lead had nothing to do with Billy Donovan and everything to do with Kevin Durant.
Right. Okay. That's interesting.
I mean, they actually won that series in my record book. Hence, Coach of the Year.
No, they only won that series in your record book in the Billy Donovan pages.
Correct, yes.
The Durant pages, there is no, what happened in that series in the Durant pages of your personal record?
Oh, he choked. And then he took old Easy Street, the easy path, over to Golden State and decided to join the team that he couldn't beat by himself and win no titles. It's a shame. I mean, if he stuck with Russ and Billy D, I mean, he'd have plenty of rings.
He'd have more than he presently does, right? Or at least.
Oh, no doubt, yeah, which is 0. He'd have 1, I think. Yeah. Because in my personal record books, they won that, went to the NBA Finals, and they beat whoever they played.
Okay, wait a minute.
Billy Donovan has a ring. But KD doesn't, and congrats to Russ. He has one, too.
I think we should start doing it that way. Aaron Rodgers has a ring. The rest of that army of schlubs doesn't deserve one and should be fired before this game on Sunday so that he doesn't rescue them again.
Glad you brought it up because in my personal record book, Mike McCarthy does not have a ring.
Doesn't have one. Yeah. Mine too, Stugotz.
Wow.
Mine too.
Whoa.
Yes, my personal record book, Mike McCarthy also doesn't have a ring.
In fact, I'm wondering if your personal record book took it as far as mine did because I have McCarthy with -3 rings.
No. That you can do that?
Oh, that's my record book. Yes, because he should have won 3 championships with Aaron Rodgers, and he hasn't.
I'm writing that down furiously right now. I'm allowed to do that. I'm giving Mike McCarthy. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Should Mike McCarthy have -3 rings?
It's fun, this personal record book.
It is. It's amazing. I want to do it this way. It's better than sports. And I feel like the measurements are better. Just kind of what I think was right versus the standings. I love this.
It's great, yeah. And again, congrats to Steven Adams and Billy Donovan and all the guys on that team.
A belated, you want to go to Oklahoma City to give them a parade? Just them?
And I got news for you. I'm going to break news here. In my personal record book, the Raiders won the tuck rule game.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I just let you know.
Wait a minute. Did they keep going? Or did they lose in the next round, or did they win the championship?
Congratulations to Charles Woodson.
Oh, my God.
And everyone on that team.
Oh.
You won a Super Bowl.
Oh, my God. I can't. I mean, congratulations to the Oakland Raiders. John Gruden, 2-time champion.
And Belichick never won a first title.
He just went straight to the second?
Yes.
No, that's not right.
He has none.
What? Wait, what? No, what do you mean he's got none?
No dynasty in my record book.
What do you mean?
He's been fired looking for another job.
You can always count on Bud Light, just like you can always count on Always Game Gary. No bar is too far. No wing sauce is too hot. Not for Gary. Always Game Gary is famous among friends. He deserves a Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB St. Louis, Missouri.
Don Le Batard.
What would you say, Stugotz? I feel like you misrepresent me all the time. You've been doing this show with me for a long time. What is my viewpoint about coaches? Because I feel like even...
They don't matter at all. Misrepresentation?
Stugotz.
I don't even know why I bothered asking you.
What do you mean?
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
I am promising you that if ESPN decided... And ESPN has been in the publishing industry. They publish books. If ESPN decided to publish Stugotz's personal record book and you actually did the work involved with who should have won championships and who shouldn't have, did the research and did it exhaustively or made Billy do it?
Right, that's what I was thinking.
That would be a book. That would be a book that, well, I don't know if it would sell, but it could get published.
Oh, it would sell. I mean, it would definitely get published, and I appreciate you saying that. And I think it would definitely sell, and I know that Billy would be doing the research.
And not being paid or being paid very poorly.
I'd give him a percentage of sales.
No,
Is that fair?
you'd tell him you'd give him a percentage of sales, then you would skew the sales and then not give it to him.
Well, you didn't let me say what percentage of sales I would give him. 0% of sales.
Texter writes in here, that last segment.
Get on it,
ha, you guys. Who wrote that? Lucille Ball or Sid Caesar? Now, this show is getting old. Show is getting old. I'm getting old. You see, I'm forgetting things all the time around here. My memory in a way that made me punch a tray of plastic forks yesterday because I'm scared about what's happening to my memory and how many names I'm getting wrong.
Yep.
Stugotz is married with teenagers who hate him.
Yep.
And that'll just harden a man. And so he's old.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone in the shipping container is either having babies or wanting to have babies, or so they're getting old. So we are getting old as a show. And we are headed toward sounding like Abbott and Costello. But lest you think that we are totally out of touch, we've been out of touch for about 10 years. And I'm going to prove it to you now by playing a bit that we have not played in 10 years. Okay, something we did a long time ago. The players involved for the Dolphins were Chad Henne, Pat White, Ronnie Brown, who else?
Lusaka Polite.
Do you remember? Do you know what Abbott and Costello are famous for? Do you know what would be their most famous routine?
Yeah. Who's on first?
All right, so Who's on First is a routine. It's like 3 or 4 minutes long, and we can't play it for you because the Abbott and Costello estate is very litigious.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't play Who's on First, but basically the whole routine is there's a guy whose name is who is playing in the field, and who's on first. And So Who's on First becomes a whole routine. Who's on first? Who?
Oh.
And so we did that because we have been out of touch for a long time. We were copying Abbott and Costello 10 years ago as it related to Chad Henne, Pat White. That's their quarterback situation. Chad Henne and Pat White. Their running back situation is Ronnie Brown and Lusaka Polite. Okay, and Stugotz and I did an Abbott and Costello routine because we've been out of touch for more than a decade. Who's the quarterback?
White.
Henne?
He's white.
Pennington?
No, Dan, the quarterback is black.
Oh, you're talking about Ronnie.
No, he's brown.
Who's brown?
Ronnie.
No, he's black.
No, he's brown.
Wait a minute. Who's in the backfield with him?
Polite.
Okay. Who's in the backfield with him? Please. It's terrible. It's just terrible. And since then, we've done nothing but become more and more popular and more successful.
Ow.
Such an excellent question. We'll get to Mike's text with his father in a second. Weird text with his father. But I promised you a couple of segments ago some Adam Vinatieri talk.
Oh, yeah.
So what happened with Adam Vinatieri that we want to go around the room here and get some people's opinion on what they would do if they were pill popping Jim Irsay.
He has a clause in his contract where if he connects on 90% or more of his field goal attempts, that he gets a $500,000 bonus. And he was well above that headed into Sunday's game against the Buffalo Bills. That game was obviously played in the snow and a lot of wind. And so he had to kick 2 field goals in that game that he missed. And that brought his percentage down to below 90%. It's at 88 right now. So he has to essentially, over the next 3 games, go 6 of 6 to get his percentage back over 90%. But that's unfair. Like terrible conditions in the snow, asking the guy to go out and kick. And I was thinking about this last night. If I own the Buffalo Bills, or if I own the Colts, if I'm Jim Irsay, there is no way I am giving Adam the $500,000 bonus. And then I was trying to apply your sensibilities to this. And I'm guessing that if you were Jim Irsay...
Yeah, of course. Spirit of the law, not letter of the law.
You'd call Adam and say, hey, difficult wind conditions, tough weather, I'm going to hand you $500,000.
I don't think you're allowed to do that. I'm not sure. We had a situation like that with I think you could do it in non-salary cap sports. Philip Hughes, the Minnesota Twins pitcher, should have gotten to... In non-salary cap sport, the owner can just give you the extra money. But I don't think you can do that in football contractually because incentives, the way they count against the salary cap. But let's just say they could for the sake of argument. Because you realize that through your prism, if you were Irsay, you definitely wouldn't give him the money. But if you were Vinatieri, you'd absolutely make your case for demanding it.
100%.
It's Vinatieri's fault, though. He should have cut a deal with the snapper or with the holder and been like, just bobble this ball. I'm not kicking it. Just fall on the ball, run around with it. I'm not kicking it.
That's not a missed field goal? That doesn't count as a missed field goal?
I don't think if he doesn't try to kick it, it's not a miss. So you just have him botch it.
I love that secret sound of Vinatieri mic'd up. Like, look at this bleep, guys. Don't stop kicking all that snow and stuff. Let's just botch the snow. We'll get out of here. Pagano will be fired. We'll be done with all those cliches and all that craziness. And I'll split it with you. I'll split my bonus with you. Get the long snapper involved. Although, one of the weird things that happens.
I feel like a split's a bit too much, maybe like 70-30 with the snapper, because it's the snapper, right? He's a long snapper. He'll take anything.
I would make the argument.
20 grand, maybe.
I would make the argument that the single most taken for granted, undervalued thing in the entire sport, maybe in all of sports, is that long snapper holder exchange that you never see botched. How is it possible in the pros that you hardly ever see that exchange botched? You see bad snaps. You see Tom Brady running backwards, chasing a ball, looking every bit as 40 years old, risking injury. But I'm sure it happens on occasional, but not very often, where you get a bad snap. How is that possible?
Oh, and in the snow, no one would be the wiser. It would have been a perfect crime.
It really would have been. Nobody would have ever discovered it. And Vinatieri could have gotten his, $500,000 bonus?
$500,000, man. Billy is I didn't even think about that when I was thinking about this last night, just cutting a deal with the long snapper and the holder. That is such a heady play by you.
Going unstated here, and this is wrong that this is happening, is just the very idea that Adam Vinatieri is still kicking footballs in the National Football League. I mean, he's older than Jan Stenerud.
It's getting to the point where I can only remember him as a Colts kicker.
Adam Vinatieri. How long is Adam Vinatieri going to do that if he's still doing that at 90%? Is Adam Vinatieri going to put this on the poll, Guillermo? Is Adam Vinatieri going to still be kicking field goals as a mummy in his 90s?
He's 44 right now. And the gray is starting to creep in.
Oh, but Vinatieri's got to walk out on the field and say, I can't work under these conditions. Pagano, you go do it. Like, what, are you kidding me? It's a $500,000 bonus. I'm not going to go out there and try and kick in this nonsense. Did you see what happened to Peterman's face? Right? Like Peterman got like 2 concussions on the same play. His brain was concussed and the side of his face was concussed. Whatever brain particles are in the fascia in the side of his face.
You got to bring Pagano, like the picture at its worst moment. Peterman at its worst moment, right as the face is driving into the snow. You got to bring him that picture on your phone when he calls you to go in and just say no. Well, why not? Well, look,
Chuck, look, we all know that you're on borrowed time. Don't make me go out here and do this. I got $500,000.
I couldn't tell where the ball was a whole day.
That's what I'm talking about. When we discuss this, I can't tell either. How do you expect me to kick it when you're on the sidelines coaching and this is how you feel about it?
I couldn't tell where the ball was a whole day.
You already mentioned that, Chuck. I couldn't tell where it was either all day. It was snow. It was crazy.
I was trying to get him to say hi, Frank.
But you couldn't find it?
Couldn't find it.
It was a lot. I was asking a lot of you there. All of a sudden, inventing a conversation with Pagano out of this guy. We could do a whole nother Who's on First routine with me and Pagano.
Don Lebatard.
I mean, Stugotz is the physical manifestation of the comment section come to life. Do you agree with that assessment that you are a comment section come to life?
100%.
It's, I wouldn't take such pride in that.
I do.
Stugotz.
But I want you to imagine Stugotz rising up from the gutter. Like, what you're looking at right now is a gutter. Only a gutter. And now it starts as a face, and the mouth gets bigger, and it just keeps growing, and then just shouts, rings.
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
So Charles Barkley went on with Golic and Wingo, and I know many of you have a whole lot of issues with Charles. Charles is a very good friend of mine. I love all the things that he is, even though I disagree with some of them. He is unusual in that I've never seen a celebrity in my life ever treat the common people as well as Charles Barkley does in terms of making people feel special. And yesterday, because he cares deeply, and I know many of you hate Charles Barkley, or you think he's an Uncle Tom, or you think that sometimes the way he talks about black causes makes it feel like he's playing, respectability politics, and you don't like some of the things Charles Barkley said. But Charles Barkley dragged his butt to Alabama yesterday to be in the middle of that and see if he could swing the power in Alabama in a way that Alabama doesn't ever get the power swung, and he succeeded. And that is using the platform. He's not a perfect messenger. There are many places that he gets it wrong, but one of the places he doesn't get it wrong is the manner in which he cares. And it's not a small thing. So Charles Barkley was on with Golick and Wingo, and he is a father. Charles is a father, and he doesn't. I feel like what Lavar Ball is pressing on the most, Lavar Ball doesn't bother me.
Right.
But I feel like he's bothering parents.
He is.
But I feel like I don't feel like he's bothering single people or college kids or people who don't have responsibilities and don't have to care for someone or nurture someone who comes from the womb helpless.
Well, you just can't relate to it. If you're single, if you don't have a kid, you just can't relate to what it is to have something that's so important to you that you would do nothing but, shower them with good things.
I know, but moral outrage generally comes, it comes from a lot of places, but oftentimes the place that it comes from is the idea of somebody exploiting their children.
Right.
Like, if you're a parent, and you'll feel that more deeply. You will feel what's happening with Lavar Ball. I'm looking at it from here, and I think it's all funny. It's all entertainment. Parents look at it, and they're like, no. There are kids involved here at a dangerous age. What Lavar Ball is doing is dangerous. And now everybody's a parent and telling him how to parent.
Right. I would tell those parents sending your kids to public school these days, that's dangerous. Anything's dangerous, okay? Don't think you're doing it better than he's doing it, okay? All right, well, you do it your way and let him do it his way.
Well, hold on. But here's Charles Barkley telling you he's not down with the way that Lavar Ball is doing it, sending the younger Ball brothers to Lithuania to start their professional careers right now, because if anyone's going to exploit them, it's going to be him before it's going to be the NCAA.
I do know Lithuania, they got a great basketball heritage. If you go back and look at the 1992 Dream Team that I was fortunate to be part of, they were one of the elite teams that we played. I don't know anything about that league or how it is, but like I say, first of all, I wish there was a place farther away from America they could send him. First of all, I would never leave my kids over there. If he's a legit father, he should stay over there with those kids the entire time. That would prove something to me. People want to say he's a great father. Well, stay over there with those kids. I will never send my 2 teenage kids to Lithuania and then show back up in the United States the next day. I would stay with my kids if I was a good father.
So he's raining down the judgment, Stugotz.
Right, and I'm not, listen, I'm just not a fan. I respect what he has to say. Charles has been on the show and been great to us over the years. I'm not a fan of other people. Parent your own kids, okay? And you don't know the exact plan that Lavar has for these kids in Lithuania. You don't know if he's going to have family members with him. You don't know if he's going to be there himself some of the time. You don't know.
Yes.
And so maybe that's not good for Charles Barkley. But you know what? It's good for Lavar Ball, and it's good for those kids because they're okay with it.
Well, but wait a minute. That's a big distinction you're making there, because I do think that many of the people who object to everything that's happening here, you just said it's good for Lavar Ball. That's indisputable. What many people are arguing when you get the angriest form of outrage is that he's doing it for Lavar Ball at the expense of his kids. You're like, the kids are okay with it. The kids don't know any better. Whether they're following dad and dad says, let's go play professionally in Lithuania. They're pretty young to be making those decisions.
They are pretty young. But Dan, so what? Go to UCLA and let the NCAA and UCLA make tons of money off of your name,
Understood.
Off of your brand?
No, wait a minute.
That's good parenting?
Wait a minute. No, wait a minute, though.
Okay.
I'm not sure that Lavar Ball views himself as much as a father as he does as a coach or a brand builder or a marketing manager for these kids. That the thing that they all want together is the success that comes from this. And so he views himself as the anarchist builder of an empire going against the grain. But you need to separate those two things. Him saying, The NCAA is not going to exploit my kids. If anyone's going to exploit them, it's going to be me and under my care, is different than sending them to Lithuania and then staying here and just letting them sink or swim in Lithuanian basketball. I don't know how he's handling those details either, but Charles Barkley continues to go down this path on Golic and Wingo where he's just saying, no. This is just exploitation. This is Lavar Ball doing for Lavar Ball.
I just feel bad for those kids because, everybody talk about he might be a good father, this and that. No, he's not. He's just exploiting his kids. His kids, I love the kid playing for the Lakers. I don't know the other two kids. He's all about big baller brand. He has no foreseeable talent. He's trying to make money on his kids. And I just feel sadness for those kids because they're going to do whatever he tells them to do. And I just don't like the guy at all. Plain and simple. And don't tell me he's a good father. Just because you exploit your kids trying to make money because you have no talent, that does not make you a good father. That makes you exploiting your kids. And I don't like the guy at all. And I wish they would quit putting him on television because he has no talent whatsoever.
The voice of the Yankees, Michael Kay, is next.
Don Batard.
If you watched the interview last night that he did with Al Troutwig, I believe. He was a fossil, by the way. Anyway, if you...
Why did you take out Al Troutwig?
Troutwig, please. Oh, seriously. Well polished Al Troutwig. I got issues with Al Troutwig that go way, way back. Way back. Way back.
Go on.
I just don't like the guy, man.
Stugotz.
Put this on the poll. When I say the name Al Troutwig, do you imagine him wearing a wig made out of trout?
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Play that Mike Tomlin sound, please, Mike, so I can hear it in his voice, not blinking because he thinks that he's in the military and he worries every week that anybody is going to be able to get out of the stadium.
Excited about being in the kitchen, if you will. It's good to be in the kitchen. The kitchen's in Pittsburgh, PA, this week in the National Football League. And at Heinz Field. And that's where you want to be in the middle of December. So we don't take it for granted. As competitors, we're excited about it. But as professionals, we know that preparation is going to be required. So we'll spend the rest of this time putting ourselves in great position to perform in the manner in which we desire to.
Oh, for the love of God.
No one wants to be there in the middle of December. Nobody.
Michael Kay with us now. He's the voice of the Yankees. Does anyone want to be there in the middle of December? Does anyone want to be there in the middle of December?
Heinfield Kitchen.
Does Mike Tomlin sound like a dope talking about kitchens? And by the way, do you refer to it as the Are you going to put this on the poll? Are you a self-serious gas bag if you refer to it as the National Football League instead of the NFL? Michael Kay with us now. Thank you for joining us, Michael. Do you refer to it as the NFL or the National Football League?
When I do my John Facenda imitation, it's the National Football League, but most of the time it's NFL.
Right, because you're a man of the people. Michael Kay.
I've always been that.
Yeah, he's a man of the people.
Would you want to be in Pittsburgh in the middle of December?
No.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a
Although Pittsburgh's a great town.
Yes?
Yeah, it really
cold,
is.
But cold.
It is cold, but I have a coat.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, okay.
But you said no already. It's
you
a
already
great town
said no.
in July.
Don't take it back.
It's a great town in July.
So Michael Kay is the voice of the Yankees, and we were talking before you came on here. We were talking about something. Allison, hold on a second, Michael. Hold on for a second. Allison was asking, she was telling us a story about J.K. Is it? No, it's J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons, yes.
J.K. Simmons is coming on the show with us tomorrow.
You're rattled by this fine system.
No, hold on. Yes, I am. And I'm rattled by everything that's happening here. By the way, I haven't mentioned, I want to talk to Allison. I have not mentioned that Stugotz and Mike Ryan are going to be hosting the Russillo show today. So you're going to get bonus Le Batard show drippage, long day.
Yep.
The crew's going to be hosting the Russillo show because everybody's at these talent meetings at ESPN. That's why Michael Kay sounds so good.
Right.
Is because he's at these talent meetings that we couldn't get to because we got to do all this crud today.
We weren't invited.
So, Allison, what I want to know about is what was the ridiculousness that you were talking about with Stugotz? This is a good conversation here.
Stugotz asked J.K. Simmons last time he was on because he's endorses Farmers Insurance, if he gets free insurance.
Right. And so, no, this is the reason that's funny, because Allison pointed out, because I would have thought that celebrities might get all free stuff, including insurance. But Allison is pointing out that then you could just drive crazy all the time and your insurance rates never go up. So that,
correct.
Like, would you not have assumed, Michael, that famous people could get insurance for free if they were commercial endorsement people for that insurance?
You would think so, and you could say that the money they get paid, they just pay the insurance, it's free. But, one of the sponsors of the radio show is Geico, and I don't get it free.
What kind of free stuff do you get?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Why?
No.
Because you got to be a journalist? Well, you get free drinks. Michael, you walk into New York. Michael, you're not paying for all your meals. You're not paying for all your drinks. You're the voice of the Yankees.
That's totally untrue. If Aaron Judge walks into a restaurant, he's not paying for his meal. What do they care if the broadcaster comes in?
Because you're the voice of the Yankees. That's a big deal. How often are you standing in line and people don't see you but hear you, and you're like, wow, that sounds like the voice of the Yankees. And there it is. They turn around and it's you.
Never.
You're not doing it right. Because
I don't talk online, Stu.
Okay. Well, how about Dom? What's LaGreca getting for free? Everything.
How about LaGreca just had he had twins. He doesn't even know what he's in for.
Oh, boy.
That's going to be crazy.
Yep.
You don't 49 years old.
Michael, you don't get anything for free. Oh, I still got a chance. I'm still in the game.
It's over.
Well, I had my kid, my first kid, when I was, I'm 52.
Wow.
Wait, I'm still in the game.
What are you,
I'm
about
still
60,
in the game.
Dan? You're 60,
I'm
right?
48. Wait a minute.
You got a shot.
You had your first baby at 52?
52, and the second one at 54.
Oh, my God.
And how great has it been?
It's been exhausting. They suck the life out of you.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So I'm okay.
I love them,
so
but
Michael,
that's a lot of work.
No, but that's always been my thing. They do that to you. Like I had my kids when I was 30, and they sucked the life out of me at 30. I can
that makes me
imagine
feel
54.
good. Because I asked people, is it because I'm old that I'm exhausted? And they said, no. Even if you have them at 25, you're exhausted.
But Michael, you can't you get help's not helping?
Even with help, we have a nanny like Monday through Friday, and it's still exhausting.
Have you thought about, like, you're going to be 62 one day, like, doing, like, really?
Why you hey, man, he's happy. Wait, why are you doing that? Are you
he's
be
right.
60?
No, because
Stu he's a truth teller.
Yes.
So I was walking past Citibank with my daughter like a year ago, and a guy comes up to us and goes, "Oh, your granddaughter's so beautiful."
Oh,
man.
Oh.
So that's a good feeling.
Oh, man. Mike, did you drop kick him?
I said, what? What did you say? He goes, your granddaughter is beautiful. I said, that's my daughter. He goes, oh, and I walked away.
Oh, man.
I mean, I know I'm 56, but I don't look that old.
I know. I get the same thing, though, when I say it's my girlfriend.
Wow.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Not you, Michael. Mike Wright.
He's the voice of the Yankees on the Yes Network. You can also hear Michael weekdays 3 to 7, 98.7 FM, ESPN New York. Good talking Yankee baseball with you, Mike. Thanks for joining us.
We really broke it down for the people.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good luck for those kids.
Demand once more money.
It's funnier that way. It's funnier that way. You can't dispute. All of you are shocked that I let him go without asking him a stand question. It's funnier that way.
I mean, just think about it, man. How old? He said he had a 2-year-old? Like, he's going to be 63 when he has to do meaningful, like, picking up, hugging, carrying. Like...
Still in the game, baby. Dan Levitard with twins coming soon.
You're only a year younger than LaGreca?
Right? Because I don't have kids. You guys, my high school friends look ancient. You could say what you will about how I look. I don't look old. My friends look old. Why? Because I don't have any responsibility.
Well, also, you have a hat with a Muppet on it right now.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the kids, like your friends that went to college with you, as much as it is as who they're married to. And I'm not saying them specifically, just the wives. It's the wives, not the kids, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Dan Levitard.
If it's 3% on $100 million, that's $300,000. On 120, it's 360.
Stugotz.
3% of 100 million is 3 million, Stugotz.
Oh, my bad.
This is the Dan Levitard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
It has been a year since we lost our friend Alan Thicke, the father from Growing Pains, father of Robin Thicke. He was the hockey correspondent on the show. Today is the year anniversary of his passing, which has made all of us sad. We will remember him, our friend, in the next segment. So a year ago today, Alan Thicke died. Aaron Rodgers is coming back this weekend, Stugotz.
Excited?
Yes and no. I'm excited because I want to watch Green Bay games again. I boycotted them.
Right.
Army of Schlubs.
Mm-hmm.
Should be the Green Bay Army of Schlubs instead of the Green Bay Packers. They should change their helmets to Army of Schlubs.
Wait until you see how good Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson are this week.
Woo! The Carolina line went from 9.5 to 2.5. What? Collarbone was broken? We haven't seen you throw a pass since? Rustiness? Nope. Let's just drop that a touchdown. And he's going to come rescue all of them. And it's, the gauntlet will be through Carolina, Minnesota, the Lions. That's a tough gauntlet.
It is, yep. He's got that game at Detroit, though, that final game. I'd rather have it there if I'm Aaron Rodgers in a dome.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. Where's the Minnesota game?
Minnesota game's at Green Bay.
Yeah, that's a one home game they have in the last week.
8:30 at night, too.
Oh, I don't want to play Minnesota in the snow. Oh, my God.
But it's Aaron Rodgers.
I know, but it's Aaron Rodgers. But, man, throwing the ball in the snow, like, he's so great in a dome. So I'm torn because I want them to get him better help, man. You can't name a great skill guy that Aaron Rodgers has had in his entire career. They don't change the scheme the way that you've seen happen in New England, where they help an aging quarterback by doing a variety of different things, including getting them Frankenstein at tight end.
Right. But you don't want to see, I want to see as much Aaron Rodgers as I could possibly see. So I understand what you're saying.
I want to see Aaron Rodgers. I don't mean just with player help. I want to see him with management help. Sure. I want to see Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers could do with a well-run organization that puts an army of talented people around him who are peers instead of people who are being dragged down the field by him.
But you're torn because, and he's going to really, it looks like he'll have to run the table here to get the Packers into the playoffs, but you're torn because if he gets to the playoffs, he has saved Mike McCarthy's job. He has saved everyone's job.
He saved that. There won't be actual change there. And so you'll just always get the 10 or 11 win season, and maybe Aaron Rodgers will carry you to the Super Bowl at the end. But he's got some things working against him that aren't just management, which is he's got to go on the road to do it because home field advantage for Aaron Rodgers in conditions like what good is Aaron Rodgers to you if what we're watching is what we just saw Buffalo at Indianapolis? Sure. That doesn't do you any good to have Aaron Rodgers.
But if he gets there, man, a lot of domes, a lot of good weather team.
Right.
If he gets there.
Right. Well, this is what I was wondering. Because
he'll be on the road for every playoff game.
You love the big names, and you're someone who will sign. You wanted to sign Scottie Pippen at 50 for the Miami Heat. You want to right now make the Marlins start Rafael Palmeiro at 53 at first base.
Yep. Clemens, number one starter.
I thought it was Schilling. I thought your number one.
Schilling could be number two. If Roger's not interested, then Kirk could be number one, and then whatever. It's up to Roger, but he has the number one spot on my rotation if he indeed wants to do it. It'd be a more entertaining thing and a product than what the Marlins are going to trot out there this year. That's all. Mariano Rivera closing. I mean, how about that? How special would that be? Pettit as your third starter. Maybe David Cohn wants to come back for a cup of coffee. There you go. You got Palmeiro at first. You got Canseco in the outfield with Sam Sosa and Barry Bonds.
Sam Sosa. That one's always funny.
You got the big unit. I mean, how much fun would that be? Honestly. I'm telling you. I know you like this idea. I know you do.
It'd be fun for one game, maybe 1 week. I'd like to see Barry Bonds face the best in the game today. I would love to see it.
Be great. Bonds versus Kershaw. Oh. No Ichiro, though.
Why no Ichiro?
Well, he's an active player.
Is he?
I think so. He still wants to play. I want guys who don't want to play.
So does Palmeiro. That doesn't make him an active player. Wait a minute. Ichiro doesn't play for anybody right now.
Someone's going to sign him. I think, right? Someone's going to sign Ichiro. It's a good guy to have off the bench.
What were we talking about before you distracted me with this nonsense? Aaron
Torrey
Rodgers.
Hunter. Oh. Gold Glover. With Sam Sosa out in that outfield. Whew. It's a good team. Fun team.
Has anyone gotten an answer from Sam on what he's doing?
It's pretty evident.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying, has anyone gotten Sam to say, yes, I want to be a white person? Has that
on record?
Is there a newspaper in the Dominican Republic or something? Has anyone gotten on the record? We all suspect that he's trying to make himself white. But has anyone asked him?
I'm checking on it. We were talking about Aaron Rodgers, by the way.
No, I know we were talking about Aaron Rodgers, but there was some sort of point I wanted to make about. Oh, I know what the point was. The point I wanted to make was about signing names and signing old people. You always want to sign old people. But to me, it just makes total sense that the Philadelphia Eagles would sign Tony Romo. Like, it's a perfect set of circumstances. And I just think that these coaches are always so afraid of change, and they're such control freaks about preparation that the idea, they're more comfortable in the idea of, let me take my chances with Nick Foles. He knows our system.
Sure.
Than letting Tony Romo have 2 games to get ready for this. You'll still have Foles in the background if it doesn't work, and go make a run at it with Romo
or Kaepernick. But don't you think they discussed this? Don't you don't think that discussion happened inside the Eagles?
I don't know, but I think that fear would keep you from doing it. Like, everything about this scenario, right? You feel like you're close as a team. These windows close fast, man. The Cowboys looked last year like they were ready to win the Super Bowl, and Rodgers closed that, and now their offensive line doesn't look healthy. The Raiders looked like they were coming last year, and then Derek Carr gets hurt, and now their offensive line is a mess, and it's over. Those windows close fast. Philadelphia might think they're going to be here for the next 10 years.
Right, but you never know. I'm totally with you. Dan, this is just a guess. I have no idea. My guess is someone reached out in the Eagles organization to Tony Romo's agent and said, let's go.
I don't think that happened. I doubt very much that something like that. Somebody would report it. It would have been reported by now if the Eagles had reached out to Romo. Somebody would have leaked it. And what I'm telling you about this is that the conservative nature of copycat coaches and preparation control freaks is they will not take the risk, even if it makes sense, over comfort. Alan Thicke.
Hey, I'm Jack, host of the new comedic news and pop culture podcast, The Daily Zeitgeist, from How Stuff Works. A little bit about me. I've listened to almost every episode of Stuff You Should Know and Stuff You Missed in History Class. I'm the co-founder and was the editor-in-chief of Cracked for the last 11 years. And our show is basically the day's news and pop culture filtered through a brain that contains all the information that entails.
And I'm Miles Gray, Jack's co-host, a former political operative and pop culture addict, like something I actually take medication for.
He does. And sometimes he's a bunch of different people, like Michael McDonald.
Tell him he's a stranger.
Japanese radio DJ.
Minasan ohayou gozaimasu, Midas desu.
And Making a Murderer's Brendan Dassey.
Yeah. No.
Just a fair warning, guys, you're going to learn a lot, but some of the content can get a little edgy, so not for young ears, but trust us, it's all in good fun. So go to Apple Podcasts and listen and subscribe to The Daily Zeitgeist. It's really good, is our catchphrase. We're still working on it.
Dan Le Batard.
You're just allowed to give me one word on what you think. I tell you, American flag, you give me one word on what you think. Go ahead, Chris. You're only allowed one word.
Freedom.
That's what I was going to go with.
Stugotz.
Guillermo.
Bald Eagles.
What?
It's 2 words.
Well,
I mean, God, $2.
That's a fine.
$2. I mean,
That's a fine.
Do you realize how hard it is to be that bad with 2 words, man?
Apple pie.
I got 2 words for you.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Well, the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. What might be right for you may not be right for some. Thank you. I hear I can hear the walking ovation.
How should I introduce you, Alan? Is that okay, Father from Growing Pains? Is that all right? Or, how should I be introducing you?
Fine, I think things like iconic, legendary, and maybe Your Highness, all kind of, I'm fine with any of that.
How much money do you actually make just from the fact that you wrote 2 of the most famous television songs ever written?
I made enough to have 3 prenups.
I want to talk Tomas Hertl with him.
Yeah.
Is he the best player in hockey? Hockey correspondent.
Who the hell is that?
Yeah.
Hello, Mike. I have just risen from my slumber. I'm drinking a mint julep. I'm looking at beluga whales here in the Pacific Northwest, which is very relaxing because, as you know, it is tax time and the IRS is coming for an audit.
Yeah.
Hey, good morning, or whenever.
Has Alan Thicke ever, while making love, played one of his son's songs?
I count on it. Are you kidding? It's the most perverse thing that I do.
Give me a list of what those things are that Shatner has turned down that Thicke has swooped in to do.
I mean, I did host a bunch of pageants. I hosted Miss Universe and Miss World and Misconception, you name it, and I probably hosted it.
I want a dollar amount. How much money have you made by Shatner simply saying no?
$473.
Okay, excellent work by you. That was as the host of Misconception.
The only 3 words that Igor knew in English were vodka, dance, and girls. And I took it upon myself to make sure that all of that came true. And that was the last we saw him on the ice against Canadian teams for some time.
Really, the only 3 words that you need to know, right?
I think, I mean, you might not even need to know dance. It could have been remarkably thick, or painfully thick, or thankfully thick.
You seem to be very happy with your marriage.
I am. I've been happy with all of them.
We have our celebrity prognosticator. I've been told all show that it's a surprise. This suggests to me that we haven't been broadcasting this, that this is not a guest. They couldn't get a real celebrity. I don't even know. I have
no idea.
I don't know who this is or what this is, but if it was somebody super famous, we would have told you they were coming on, I think.
Hello. I'm going to try to overlook the not very famous introduction.
When Snoop Dogg on radio one day was asked who the weirdest, most unusual guy he ever smoked weed with was, and when he responded, Alan Thicke, my son's lines lit up like, was he mistaken? Was he talking about you? Could that have been your dad? To which my response, of course, was, well, I was at the same party, maybe in another part of the room.
I want to be there tonight when lightning strikes, fire on ice, something like that.
Is Turtle Wax still doing well? Is the business of Turtle Wax?
I don't know.
I wasn't asking you. I was asking.
I've never waxed my turtle.
Okay.
I got my hands full with beavers.
We very much appreciate it. Hopefully we'll get you around here more often. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Dan. My pleasure. We'll talk again sometime.
I hope so. Alan Thicke, be careful. He'll steal your women. Wow, what an interesting combination of funny and heartbreaking. Like, that hurt.
Yeah, it hurts.
That one hurt. It
missed that, man.
It hurt to listen to that. Yeah, because we had a lot of fun with him for a long time. Who would be the most popular guests in the history of the show? If you were to go the history of the 15 years we've been doing this.
I mean, Alan's certainly right up there. Ron McGill is certainly right up there.
If we were to go ahead and put this on a poll, let's come together with a list here at Le Batard Show. Who has been your favorite person in the history of this show? And the choices have to be from among Ron McGill, Greg Cody, Alan Thicke, Super Dave Osborne, the recurring guests.
Yeah, I was going to say Bob Einstein was working his way on that list before he self-imposed a ban after
the death of Alan Thicke, or was it Paxson? Like, somebody was on the show with us and then died, and Bob Einstein believes that our show is cursed and has now refused to come on. And in fact, Allison, can I get an update on this?
Still talks to Allison.
No, like every week, every day.
Yeah, it's
every
closer
day.
to every day than every week.
Every day?
Funkhauser from Curb Your Enthusiasm has been a friend of the show for a long time.
Allison, what is happening? Are you take your headphones off?
What is? Now there's a phone. I hear a phone. Like, what is going on? A lot of people are saying Kenny G, by the way.
Oh, I heard that Kenny G was good on Drop the Mic. I heard he was dirty on Drop the Mic. Mike, did you get that sound cleared?
Still working on that.
So Kenny G, apparently, did he freestyle rapped against, who was it that he...
Richard Marx.
Richard Marx.
Those are boys.
Yeah, they are boys. If you don't know anything about our show, we have a relationship with Kenny G that is funny. None of us have ever met Kenny G.
Nope.
We thought the same things about Kenny G that you probably thought if you didn't know Kenny G, which is that he's kind of cheesy, but he's actually fun and funny, and we were delighted to have him around.
Kenny G sort of occupies the Lebitard sweet space that Alan Thicke occupied, which is, oh, this is a surprise. You're like that in real life?
Right. Well, that's why I want Kenny G on the list, or Carrot Top, for that matter, although he was terrible last week.
He was awful.
What the hell happened to Carrot Top?
A lot of people, like recent people, getting some nominations here. We're getting the Pat Sajaks. Those are coming in.
Oh, yeah, Pat Sajak is a good one, too.
We're getting a lot of Chris Sims, and we're getting a lot of Greg Normans. We're getting a lot of those on the text machine here.
Okay, those two people need to get out of here. You guys have recency bias. You guys have no perspective. You guys don't appreciate this nostalgia and legacy for what it is.
I might be with you on Chris Sims, but Greg Norman lit this radio show up for about a week.
No, he did.
Great.
He did, and we loved him.
Yes, and also, Chris Sims is about to set a record for most appearances on the Dan Lebitard show. He has 61 more of these.
Look, man, Greg Norman and Chris Sims have some work to do before they're allowed the great tribute of being on this poll that is like the hundreds of others that we do every day mocking sports radio.
But you're allowing Pat Sajak, right? Of course.
Yes.
Stan Van Gundy?
Stan, yes, okay, you got to put Stan on there.
How about Marty Smith?
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Too new.
Wow.
Man, it's been a year now with these
Marty Smith, John Amici.
Paddleboard guy. Did you write him that letter or not?
I mean, Allison, I've agreed to write that letter.
Send me the info. My job is done.
Send me the info? Okay. All right, so that was waiting on me. All right. I know. So no is the answer to your question. I've not written that letter for that paddleboarder. But, Allison, what's going on with you and Bob Einstein? What is the latest? Funkhauser from Curb Your Enthusiasm. How often do you two talk?
Well, right now we're in a little downturn. I haven't spoken to him in a few days.
Wow. Uh-oh.
So,
is he okay?
But it's usually every other day.
Are you okay?
I'm not okay. I'm not okay.
And so how would you explain to the audience the nature of your relationship and everything that's happening?
We're friends. We're friends.
No, but I'm saying like the weirdness of it. Like we've played a couple of the messages where he'll just leave you messages on why he's not coming on the show and he just likes to leave you messages.
He does. He likes to talk about the news. We talk about the news, what's going on. He likes to talk about you, but he doesn't want to come on the show. He doesn't like the show.
I think he's mad at her because the last time he called her, she handed me the phone. It was here, and I picked up, and he immediately hung up. And I don't think she's heard from him since. So I think he thinks that we put him on the air.
Uh-oh.
He's creating controversy. He loves, this is Billy, the instigator, stirring the pot. He loves to create controversy everywhere he goes.
Let's listen to some of the messages that Funkhauser, Super Dave, Bob Einstein leave. Bob Einstein, who's his brother? His brother is
Albert Brooks.
Albert Brooks, that's right.
Yeah.
I thought it was Albert Einstein.
It is.
Yeah.
He decided to not go with that publicly as a stage name.
Yes, his brother.
For reasons you probably do not know, Stugotz.
But let's go ahead and play one of the messages that Bob Einstein leaves for Allison.
Say I called you back. I tried 3 times calling me with those stupid questions. But here's the thing. I would love to answer those questions because I would have a lot of fun. But I like living. It's one of my favorite things to do. Get up, breathe the air, have some breakfast. If I'm working, I work. If I'm not, I'm not. That's all. Very simple. It's black and white. I don't like to bring color into this, but it's simple. And too many people have died.
So he thinks the show is cursed and just refuses to come on it.
Do you have any concept what a lunatic world you're living in? Thank you.
How many more do you have? I can't listen to them enough. The number that you have, I mean, Allison comes in and plays them for me sometimes. Some of them are so raunchy. So, I mean, he is dirty. He's dirty. Allison.
She's speaking to him right now.
Yeah, she's on the phone.
She's talking to him right now? Let's put him on the air.
Let's do that thing where we just hear Allison's part of the conversation.
Okay, let's do that.
Allison, come to the microphone.
Yep. Wait, he's on hold.
Is he on hold? Are we going to talk to him?
I don't know.
What, Allison? Talk to him on the air, but don't actually like.
Yeah, talk to him on the air and try to convince him to come on the show.
Just speaking to the microphone.
Yeah, let's just hear your part of this.
Phone over here.
How dare I? What do you mean? I won't put you on the air. I promise. I won't put you on the air. I won't do that. I promise. We just. What? Right, because he wants to talk to you. He misses you. We all miss you. We need Bob in our lives.
Yes, we do. Need
You miss him too. Why do you have to get off? No, he wants to talk to you.
Please.
I want to live through the holidays.
Time to justify our unreasonable salaries.
I love that guy.
I do too. Lisa, it's too bad we're going to kill him one day. I love you so much, Bob. I'm sorry that one day we will murder you and never be charged. Because how can you prove a curse in a court of law? You'll never get us. We are leaving no paper trail.
Right, we have countless examples of guests
people
who
who haven't died.
Who are still alive.
So many people who have come on our show and haven't died. Is Billy talking to him now? Oh, let's hear this. Hold on a second.
Huh?
Say something.
Just cut him off, Bill, and say something.
Say a word! He's telling me a joke.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right, we'll come back with whatever that joke was.
Don Le Batard.
I was listening today. I was on my listening game today. I remember it like it was yesterday. Well, it wasn't yesterday. It was an hour ago, but I remember it clearly, and that's what I said.
Wait a minute. So you're saying you had to throw a cliche in there if I remember it like it was yesterday, even though it was an hour ago?
It was today.
Stugotz.
What you're saying is I remember it like it was yesterday, so you're really arguing against how well you remember it, because it was an hour ago. If you remember it like if it was yesterday, that means you don't remember it well.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Guillermo, $2. That segment could have ended so great with just Allison saying he wants to live through the holidays. And then we went to you and your call.
I didn't turn the microphone on. I didn't even know you guys were talking to me.
I was like, I put it on.
So that $2. The microphone was on, and
saying,
you didn't offer a contribution that was worth anything.
Right, but what he's saying is he was just having a private conversation with Bob. Bob was telling him a joke. He had no idea it was going to be mic'd up, and you can't cut a guy off in the middle of a joke, especially a comedian.
$1.
Read the room.
Tried to help you out, man.
So, do you feel shame at Le Batard Show? Do you feel shame when you land in the minority on one of our polls? Do you feel shame that you're being told by the rest of the listening community here that your opinion is the wrong opinion? I'm just curious. All of ESPN today is at a talent meeting. They excluded us because we are not talented.
Yep.
And Russillo's not doing his show today from 1 to 3 because everybody's in a meeting. So Stugotz and Mike Ryan will be taking the reins with the shipping container and soaring into the sky from 1 to 3.
A radio marathon. I think it's 1 to 4.
Oh, all right.
I prefer it to be 1 to 3. In fact, I requested 1 to 3, but I think it's 1 to 4. That is a 7-hour marathon we're doing today, but it's my dream.
Well, right. Well, we will see. You will now see. It'll be the same show from 1 to 4 without me.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be all the same people. It'll just not have me in it. And so it'll be better and certainly more palatable to Russillo's audience than what I would do, which is nonsense. It'll be a sportsier show, no? Or
I mean, we have McShay for a half hour in the first hour.
So yes.
Yeah.
So yes.
But
you know, like
so yes.
we don't want to come in and trash the place.
Correct.
We're the invited guest, and there's important things to get to, like overrated, underrated, or properly rated.
Right. We're going to do that as well, plus life advice. So, like, we got a big show coming up, and we got McShay for a half hour. His mock is out, his first mock of the year.
I like the idea, though, of just generally our show metastasizing, like where I like the idea of maybe you sneaking into, as you have been, Wingo and Golick, like,
yeah.
And so we've been 10-1 here nationally for a little while, but I like it metastasizing and some of it leaking into with radio activity. You want an asbestos suit into the Russillo show, and some of it leaking into Mike and Mike. And just eventually there being spillage all over the place, and next thing you know, everything's corroded. That's what we're trying to get to here.
Right. I mean, Mike, I'm just warning you now, by like 2:30, I'm going to be gassed, and you just got to carry it from there. All right? In fact, if I can go home at 3, that'd be great.
It's going to be a real look at him already trying to.
I'm already tired.
Work less on his dream because his dream is me out of the way, right? Like his
dream used to be the dream, not as much. I don't dream. I don't have that dream nearly as often as I used to. I gotta be honest.
No, but the dream is. This is accurate. What I'm about to say is accurate. I think is accurate. The dream is you are me. And you then get to do whatever you want from the position of me. But that can't be with me here. So if I were to just remove me from the equation and then give you everything that comes with being me, you want the good things without any of the responsibilities because you'd get us fired in 3 days.
Well, my real dream is your check.
Don Le Batard.
It is funny to hear Stugotz and how generally resistant he is to knowledge.
Yeah.
Yep, it's the key to the show. Yep.
Stugotz.
You just figured out the secret sauce, Dexter.
Knowledge is my kryptonite.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Does anyone like the golf narc? Does anyone like the guy who calls in from the television show or watching golf on television and tattles on a rule breaker?
I hate it. I mean, I love golf. You know that, and I hate that rule is...
Well, they're getting rid of that. The reason I bring it up is because I'm paying a fine now because so many of you last segment noticed something that no one else did, which is I called the show Mike and Mike instead of Golick and Mike.
Right.
We noticed. We try to give you a break.
Wingo and Golick?
Yeah, we're giving you a break. I mean, you're going to run out of money.
It's been a rough week.
Yeah.
That's an understandable one.
Yeah. Take the money back. It's fine.
No,
it's good. We let you...
But my point is you guys seem to enjoy being the golf narc is my point. All of you who don't like the golf narc seem to enjoy being the golf narc.
It got me thinking maybe we could set up a line here where listeners can call in when we make a mistake and no one realizes it, and they can call in and say, hey, this mistake was made at this time. It'd be funny to play some of those back. I'm telling you.
It's the text machine. It's what I just did.
I know, but I think setting up a line and making it seem like it's more official, like you're calling into a PGA event to report a violation, could be funny.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. Okay. Maybe it won't be funny. I don't know.
Right. All right. Chris Sims with us now. You can check him out, Bleacher Report. Reason we had him on, and he's been delightful. He signed a 70-day contract with us. He ranked Blake Bortles as his 70th best NFL quarterback. Cody Kessler was 71, and the rest of the list so far we've learned in day after day. Austin Davis, T.J. Yates, Cardale Jones, Brandon Weeden, C.J. Beathard, Sean Mannion is 64, and Jake Ruddock is 63.
Yep.
And I'm going to really enjoy when Blake Bortles holds up the Super Bowl trophy and the day after Chris Sims comes on with us and is still at like number 30 in his quarterback rankings.
Oh, I think he's entrenched at 70 no matter what happens.
No, but I'm saying, I know, but what I'm saying is we're going to be on number 30 by the Super Bowl. We're going to go 2 months after that.
Right.
Blake Bortles is going to be at the parade celebrating everything, and Chris Sims still has not gotten to the end of his list. Like, are you fearing that right now, Sims?
I am hearing it. I'm also hearing, I mean, am I now one of your top returning guests just because I'm too new?
That's right.
I mean, are you Blake Bortling me?
I mean,
are you putting me below 70?
I think so. I tried. I pushed for you, man. I did.
Yeah,
I know you did, Stugotz. You're my guy, man.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I wasn't really looking to be your guy.
I was.
Fine. I like you too, Dan, whether you like it or not.
Regardless, here we go. We're getting to number 62 on the list. Are you ready, Stugotz? This is a big spot.
I am
62.
Ready.
It's right before the immortal Jake Ruddock.
You're better than Jake Ruddock if he said your name here.
Number 62 in Chris Sims's top quarterback rankings. Go, baby.
Cooper Rush, backup quarterback, Dallas Cowboys.
Wow, nice.
Number 62.
That's the first time I've heard that name.
Well, the last 3 names, I've never heard of any of those people.
Well, that's what I'm here for, guys.
Well, how are you doing with the criticism so far? Because you know how social media is, and you seem to get it. How are you doing so far with all the people who are saying, well, where would you rank yourself, Mr. Sims?
I don't really, I don't care about social media, for one, so I don't even listen to that crap, really. I work at Bleacher Report. I work at NBC Sports. I study the game hard every day, and, I made this as kind of a comment. I truly believe it, and then you jumped on the bandwagon, and I'm having fun with it. I don't care.
Okay,
nice.
That's good. But if they say that you wouldn't even be number 70, since you're not on social media, you're not getting any of that. We're getting it. We're
Right.
getting
We're
some.
getting- we're
Who
getting-
the hell is Chris
Right,
Sims?
right.
Who the hell is Chris Sims to come after the sacred name of one Blake Bortles?
Yeah, well, I'm nobody, that's for sure. But I know I did play a few games. I did start a playoff game, so I had a few moments. And one thing I know is I could throw the ball better than Blake Bortles. So that's for sure. And that I'll end that argument from there right away.
All right.
I mean, yeah, my career wasn't worth the damn, and of course got sidetracked because of my spleen issues and all that. But it is what it is right now, and I enjoy doing what I'm doing.
That last.
You're a guy that we called.
Yes.
Yes.
Look, man, I am now a Chris Sims fan. I want it stated for the record.
Thank you.
But I like that he just threw in there that sentence of, and I had my spleen issues. Like what you could have said is, Dan, I almost died on the field doing this. How's that for a credential? Like I almost died on the field doing it.
It boosts your resume. It does.
It does. I mean, unfortunately, it's the number one thing on my resume for my career, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is what it is, and I deal with it and have fun with it.
All right. Well, thank you for you and your spleen. And the safety and the safety of your spleen.
And congratulations to Cooper.
I don't have a spleen. It's gone. It's all gone. There's nothing here to safety of anymore. So it's in the trash can somewhere.
Okay.
You think he had like a part of it, or?
And I just I thought it repaired. I thought I didn't realize
regenerates, or like
I was not familiar with the workings of the spleen. Were you, Chris? Before any of this happened?
I had no idea any of it.
What did you know about the spleen? What have you learned about the spleen?
Gosh, the spleen, of course, you can live without it. That's the first thing I learned.
Right.
The second thing is it's key for your immune system. That's the biggest thing. It fights infections, diseases, even your common colds, whatever it may be. And that is something I've had to deal with ever since I've lost it. I mean, I get freaking cold sores on my lips now, and I got to get vaccinations every 3 years and just stay on top of that all the time.
Oh wow! So you are. I didn't know that. You're more susceptible. So the common cold,
yes,
you get that more often than the rest of us.
I do. I'm like totally OCD guy. Like wash his hands crazy. Try to eat healthy as I can be during the week. All because of the lack of spleen.
That stinks. Like I didn't know that the spleen was that important. Did you know the spleen was that important?
No, I really didn't. I mean, I honestly. I didn't know what the hell the spleen did until after the fact. And then, doctors were like, hey, this is serious. This is serious for your long-term health. You got to watch these kind of things. And, I've been doing a pretty good job ever since.
But you never thought for a second, it's awful what you're going through, but you never thought for a second that the spleen, once it was taken out of you, that it would just kind of grow back naturally, right?
Which is what...
No, I did not believe. But I was told that there's cases of that where it actually does regenerate.
All right. Wow. See, thank you. I don't feel like such an idiot right now compared to spleen expert Stugotz over here. Sims, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate it, Chris. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
Be good. Have a good day. See you.
Too.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Nice guy.
We're learning. We're learning things. We're learning things with Chris Sims. It's nice to see that side of him and put him on the poll because he deserves now. Yes. He has reached the status to be somewhere in others receiving votes on favorite people. He could be the Blake Bortles on our list.
I was always a major
guests.
Applewhite guy, but Chris Sims has totally won me over.
We have to come up with a list and put him at number 70.
Guillermo, go ahead and put it on the poll. Did you know the spleen was that important? And the second question, I want it to be about Chris Sims. I want him dropped into the the favorite guest thing.
Don Le Batard.
Did you know that Jose Canseco's finger fell off during a poker game?
We did a good show today, man.
68% of the audience said no. That's all we got today.
Is that all?
Our job is done.
Stugotz.
That's a quality program we put together.
Good job, everyone.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Baseball super agent Scott Boras has equated New Marlins ownership to a pawn shop in a story by Jerry Krasnick, ESPN.com, because the Marlins are, again, sellers on any and all contracts. And he says you have a community down there that grew to know 4 or 5 star players. They have a tremendous outfield there. They have a new ballpark. They have an excitement they grew to know. They suffered a tremendous tragedy and loss with the death of Jose Fernandez. As a community, they bonded around that team. You would hope that Major League Baseball would screen new ownership so that we have some someone come in and provide additions. Instead, they come in and they redirect. So you're not a jewelry store that's coveting your diamonds. You become a pawn shop that's trying to pay the rent of the building. I think major league markets are damaged by that. I think it's disappointing for players who grew up with one another. You always hear people talk about development and growing in an organization. That process was exhibited and functioning at a high level in Miami, and it was basically redirected due to debt service, paying off the purchase price for the ownership as opposed to giving that fan base something to look forward to. Now, everything that he is saying here is 100% spot on. I just don't want to hear it from him.
Bad messenger. I was going to say the same thing. He's Stanton's agent, by the way?
I mean, no, he's not Stanton's agent. He was Jose Fernandez's agent, and he's only interested in the money, and he's only interested in everybody spending so he can get his clients ridiculous contracts.
Great message, awful messenger. Don't care what Scott Boras has to say about this because he's never done anything wrong. He's always done things the right way, Scott Boras. Please.
Yeah, that's pretty rich from Scott Boras saying, complaining about fans getting attached to players.
No, but all of this is rich people behaving badly. What happened with this Stanton trade? Because Manfred, all the commissioner of the league gave you on this when the Marlins sold is we were real happy with the purchase price. Like, man, if you're going to make it that cold, if you're going to run business that coldly, you deserve to lose your customers, Manfred. I'm not even kidding you. Like, you should have more in New York, but you deserve to lose all of your South Florida customers if your chief goal is to just get the purchase price up to a place where Jeter can't afford it, so he's got to get rid of Stanton because the previous owners mismanaged things so poorly. Like, that's crazy to me.
Right.
That the math of that is allowed to happen at the highest levels.
It's nuts,
of the sport. And the people are just telling you, Manfred made this happen, man.
Yep.
Manfred made this deal happen because he wanted to get the purchase price up there. Jeter didn't have the money. Jeter knows that he overspent by about $300 million on that team. He can't afford it. So what's contract of Stanton? About $300 million. So what just happened was Stanton being traded. Did you just do the math the way I did it, Stugotz?
Yep, 100%.
That $300 million that Jeter overspent on a team because baseball needed to get the purchase price up is the contract they just traded. That's baseball conspiring, man.
You shouldn't be that surprised. I understand you're upset by it. You shouldn't be that surprised by it. That's it. It's just big business, and that's what people do, especially in positions of power. That's what they do. Rob Manfred, you think he cares about the fans down here in Miami? Honestly, do you think he cares?
But he deserves.
He doesn't.
He deserves to lose them.
Okay.
He deserves to lose all of them.
He's going to lose some of them. He's not going to lose all of them. If they get good again, he'll get all of them and then some back, and he knows that. So why not get $1.1 billion for the Marlins? The Marlins. Think about that.
When getting approved by Major League Baseball as a new owner, you have to present to them your plan. And he told Major League Baseball his plan was to shed salary.
Yes.
And Major League Baseball, knowing what happened here in this market, was cool with it.
Yes.
I don't care, Mike.
Yes. Jeter didn't just buy the team and then announce this plan. Jeter, with baseball, made this plan. How do we get you to get the purchase price to $1.1, $1.2 billion? How do we get it up there? You overspend by $350 million. Like, that part is gross, man.
Yeah, MLB deserves some blame. Knowing what's happened in this market, they're treating Miami as a small market.
Major League Baseball doesn't deserve some blame. Major League Baseball deserves to lose South Florida's dollars. They don't deserve blame. They deserve to lose all of their customers in South Florida.
The problem with that is then that reinforces that, look, they can't support a baseball team.
That's
narrative.
fine. Baseball has earned that. Baseball has earned that. Take your money. You sold your soul. You sold your soul, and you treat it. It's not a pawn shop what they treated South Florida as. It's a brothel. It's not a pawn shop. It's dirtier than that.
It's this whole vicious cycle of, well, the fans don't show up. The fans don't show up because you're constant betrayal.
Because you keep milking this, and now you milked your legend's integrity to get to that $1.2 billion. Derek Jeter's in the middle of a storm right now, unlike anything he's ever been in terms of unpopularity. You took all his dignity, his integrity, his reputation, you squeezed everything you could out of it to get to that $1.2 billion. And now you're going to get rich and richer, and he's going to get rich and richer while trafficking and selling of his name. And what ends up happening is they deserve to not have a single fan in that ballpark when their season opens. Not one. They deserve to not have one person sitting in that stadium the day that it opens. The day that it opens on opening day.
And they thought by merely his name being Derek Jeter, they'd be able to get away with it. No.
Well, no, but I'm here to tell you, okay, that what Major League Baseball, I don't care what consequences this brings me with our company and the partnerships that we have with Major League Baseball. I am here to tell you that what baseball did here was the highest kind of dirty. And while I know that it is wrong to say publicly things like a team should be boycotted, what I know with your partners, like the danger of what it is that I'm saying here. And what I'm telling you is the way that baseball did all of this to South Florida, the way that baseball did South Florida dirty, conspiring on all this stuff to make it happen so that they could get that business price up to where it is, they deserve to not have a single person support that business in South Florida. It's what they deserve. Baseball. It's what baseball deserves here. Like, Manfred needs to know that South Florida is not good with what happens here just because his epicenter is New York and everyone's celebrating that the Yankees just got better.
That first game is against the Cubs, though, man.
No, I might go to that one.
I'm with you.
Rizzo's a hometown kid.
And the Yankees come to town not short
You love
thereafter.
Oh, my God, so many bombs.
Can you imagine how cool it would be seeing Giancarlo Stanton in that stadium?
Bombs.
It's 4 with the Cubs and then 2 with the Red Sox right after the 4 with the Cubs.
They don't deserve a fan in May. Good?
Yeah. Today, they don't deserve a fan.
Well, starting on April 5th, then it goes to the Phillies.
I mean, when the Yankees come to town. Though.
And if for whatever reason this Jeter plan works, I'm there. If they start winning. No?
Yeah.
No?